folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
All of my years I've lived here. It's the only way I know. Run the family farm with the grace of God above and fertile soil below. Summer's gone, 11 weeks. A searing storm that's choke $50,000 worth. Dreams going up in the smoke. Sacrificed another field day to keep the others growing. Had to sell my milking cows to keep the bankers going away. That line of clouds across the sky might bring the winds of death, the raindrops to my eyes. My wife, she's out there dancing in a checkered kitchen dress, droplets running down her brow, and her blonde hair's getting messed. Iowa can be a place where fertile famines drain. This year just poured life down from the brink, and I dancing in the rain. Before today my luck had gone a hard lap toward the worst, enough to make an honest man think a farmer's life is cursed. Remembering tales on my granddad's knees of soil that sprouted wings. It's taken 30 years for me to appreciate these things. My wife, she's out there dancing in a checkered kitchen dress, droplets running down her brow, and her blonde hair's getting messed. Iowa can be a place where fertile famines drain. This year just poured life down from the brink, and I dancing in the rain. Heard it on the radio, Dakota wheat fields won't survive. Cousin Jack up there will find some way to stay alive. Mother Nature's fickle ways might someday do me in, but I'm on my knees in gratitude, 'cause it's raining. Next year we might stare at this same mess right in the face. This old White House and apple trees keep me fighting for this place, facing up to troubles that my children might not know. And you keep your generations on the farm all in a row. My wife, she's out there dancing in a checkered kitchen dress, droplets running down her brow, and her blonde hair's getting messed. Iowa can be a place Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is Horses Sing None of It, and I'm Sandy Riley, sitting in for Ralph Litwin. We are listening to the music of Andrew McKnight. He hails from the Shenandoah, the Blue Ridge Mountains, Middleburg, Virginia. It's a beautiful song, Dancing in the Rain.
Thank you.
That's joy.
Thank you very much.
Many songs I hear of farming are a little on the depressing side. Looks at a happier side.
Well, sometimes we have to find those little seeds of hope in the midst of a little dark dirt.
Awesome.
I guess this song is a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the journey through perseverance that brings the joy along when we least expect it too.
And where did you find the inspiration for that?
It's kind of funny. It comes from a couple of different places, actually. I was thinking of traveling through Idaho during a really bad drought. And the old idea of the images of the farms, you know, where literally there were all these brown fields and then a few green ones. And what would happen is, as they ran out of their water allocation, they'd keep letting another one go, letting another one go. It's kind of an amazing thing. And then one hot summer thunderstormy kind of night, right at sunset, it rained on one of those days with no air conditioning when it's too hot to move. And you sort of lay on the floor all day because you can't do anything else, and then right at sunset it thunderstormed. It's one of those things where you just go out and you just feel the rain on you. It's like, this is a good feeling. So I guess all that stuff just kind of swirled into being in about 15 minutes. And you just look up and you say, thank you, there it is. Check.
Yeah, big checks too. What else do you want to share with us tonight?
Well, I'll play, that one's off of my first CD, Traveler. I'll play one off of my latest release, Turning Pages. This is a story from home, inspired by the diaries of a dear friend of mine's great-great-grandmother who lived about 8 miles from where we do now, right at the foot of the Blue Ridge. And during the spring of 1861, as her husband prepared to go off to war with the 7th Virginia Cavalry, she decided that she would pass the time and occupy her mind by keeping a thorough accounting of all that happened while he was away, to keep herself from going crazy with worry about him. Over the next 4 years, her diaries tell some incredible stories, until the last winter of the war, when she runs out of paper. Her words inspired this handful of pages from the diary of a Virginia farm boy on the road to Appomattox. Grew up on that mountain farm down Nelson County way. Wish I lived to see it again, but that is not my fate. For on my 16th birthday, war marched all around our land, and I joined Virginia's volunteers, Robert Lee's command. 2 days passed upon the march toward Yankees in the front, and I knew my trusty rifle, the difference was the hunt. We smashed into their backside up Loudon County way. I'll not soon forget 3 boys in blue, sent to early graves. Down the road to Appomattox, where bullets whine like bees, cut blossoms from the trees. On the road to Appomattox, turn boys into men, men into memories. We fell back from Gettysburg with calloused feet and hearts. Saw most of my company fall in Pickett's cursed charge. Winter spent on valley farms with little food or warmth, and hellfire came with spring advance and the smell of burning corn. Down the road of Appomattox, where bullets whine like bees, cut blossoms from the trees. On the road to Appomattox, turn boys into men, men into memories. nighttime retreat, the fall of Petersburg. The city burned around us, the Federals charging hard. I heard them call a chaplain, they heard me call on God. Whatever reward awaited me was not far off. Down the road to Appomattox, where bullets whine like bees, cut blossoms from the trees. On the road to Appomattox, turn boys into men, men into memories. There were battles won on both sides, the history books confirm, but no one ever wins at war. The last loser asks for terms. Down the road to Appomattox, where bullets whine like bees, cut blossoms from the trees. On the road to Appomattox, turn boys into men, men into Thank you so much.
That's very haunting, very haunting. And that's from your album, as you said, Turning Pages. What I liked about that album is it's been a long time since I've seen an album that's just really geared towards a theme. And it seems so many of the songs were historical in nature. And as you said, that one from a diary. There's another one you did from a diary. And
Imagining the diaries of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings.
right.
Had they left something for us to read and look at, would have been kind of interesting. They took their secrets to the grave with them, we'll never know. But it was fun to write. Yeah, it's kind of a weave of family history, my own history, you know, just this theme of sometimes the book of our lives, the book, our story, we don't always understand the chapters we're in at the time. It's not until you get to the later chapters and look back at it that it really starts to make sense. And I think that was kind of this sort of subtle theme running through it too. I really had no idea that quite so many themes were going to happen in it when I started working on it. It's really time to get these songs recorded and get on with it.
Now, I know that you're an environmental engineer turned singer-songwriter. A historian as well?
Seat of the pants. I'm an amateur historian. I mean, where we live, Manassas and Antietam are close. And of course, Mount Vernon and all these incredible, Virginia is just rich and rife with history. And it's hard not to feel the ghosts of the past hanging around somewhere nearby. So I guess you're always kind of conscious of a place in a line of footsteps, if you will. And in fact, on the way here today, I spent a little time at Morristown, at Jockey Hollow, just kind of taking in a little bit of that feeling of things. Very interesting place.
Ties everything back in with home.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Great. Now, back at home, you do some festivals. You understand that you do a festival in the summer or the spring?
We have a little festival at the house every year, a little folk festival called the Mountville Folk Festival, and people come from all over the place and hang out at our house and at our yard. And you know, one of the things about being a touring singer-songwriter is it's the gypsy life. You know, we drive around in our little bubbles, and every now and then we wind up in the same place at the same time with our friends, but it doesn't happen very often. So occasionally we'll make an excuse to do that. So that's what Mountville's all about. But we've had some really great festivals come into the Shenandoah Valley in the last couple of years. There's one called Country Roads Folk Festival, and the folks at Mountain Stage they started a series called the New Song Festival, and I've played that one for the first year, and that was great. It's just a lot of fun. It's a great, rich musical region, you know. We ought to have some good festivals there.
That's fantastic. What else would you like to share with us?
Well, since you mentioned the environmental side of the fence, I guess I ought to play one of those green songs out there. This one's from my Green album, the second album, The Middle Child, Where This River Runs. And this song is a true story about some friends of mine who grew up in the shadow of the great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. on the banks of the Pigeon River, which unfortunately for them happens to start over in western North Carolina. True story called The Other Way. That old photo shows my farm along this river clear. So long ago, before that paper mill appeared. My granddad is that man fishing on the bank in the gentle shadow of these smoky mountain flanks. My faith will take me someday to the promised land, and I know it'll look just like my home before this curse began. And if I could change the world, I wonder what they'd say if this dirty river flowed the other way. 8 decades passed since that day they flipped the switch, and unimagined nightmares poured downstream while they got rich. The government brought permits, hearings, bureaucrats, and files. The river brought us cancer while their lawyers brought denials. My faith will take me someday to the promised land, and I know it'll look just like my home before this curse began. And if I could change the world, I wonder what they'd say if this dirty river flowed the other way. I take deep regret into my twilight years. What unknown demons face the ones I hold so dear? Bury me along these banks in our Appalachian way, in the hope this stinking river will flow pure again someday. My faith will take me someday to the promised land, and I know it'll look just like my home before this curse began. If I could change the world, I wonder what they'd say when this dirty river flowed the other way. And when this dirty river flowed the other way. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now you say that was from the Green album, Where This River Runs. And that is your middle child? I understand it's not going to be your middle child very long.
Not much longer. Yeah, we're working on CD number 4 as we speak. But this one's even got this sexy cardboard packaging thing. You know, it's the complete Green.
Now your first was Traveler.
Yep, that's from 1995. I still have a great time playing songs off of that record. They've morphed. It's funny how songs evolve over the years. Some of those songs have evolved in some pretty interesting directions. It's cool to get to be able to play it. Dancing in the Rain sounds a little bit different now than it did on that record. Still fun to play, though. Snapshots, like Kodachromes, you know.
And they grow
Those
up.
old things that we used to take to Walmart to get developed. And that one's Turning Pages. That's a couple years ago, 2001. Everybody says that cover looks like Chuck Norris. I don't buy it. Do you? I don't believe that. Come on now, I gave you $10 before the show to say I didn't look like Chuck Norris.
Doesn't look a thing like Chuck Norris. I didn't have that 10 bucks yet, so that's why. A promise is a promise, but I don't feel that crinkle.
There you go.
You know, we should let people know a way to get in touch with you. They can reach you at info@fallingmountain.com.
That's correct. That's correct. Drop a line, say hello. It's always good to know where people have heard my music. I get emails from all over the place all the time, and it's wonderful. Sometimes it's just these surprise little emails of somebody who heard you on the internet. You know, the internet changed everything. It leveled the playing field for so many of us independent musicians. You know, you can go find Bruce Springsteen on the internet using a Google search. You can find Andrew McKnight on the internet using a Google search. Same rules, you know? Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool. It makes this career, I think, a whole lot more possible than it would have been 20 years ago.
I think what's a lot of fun, too, is you also have a travel log, so people can get a good taste of what it is that you're doing. You, wherever you go, you write a little something about. Yeah,
and I've recently got a digital camera that I'm starting to weave into that whole mix, too. Yeah, you know, for a writer, you have to write. It's exercising the muscle. So I figure that using these journals that I write them as part of the natural process, but when I read through them, it's like, well, I guess this kind of tells people a little bit about where I've been and what I've been doing. It's not so much about the music, it's really about the traveling, about the life on the 2-lane roads in the small towns. A road warrior's journal.
Very good. We've got a little bit of a feeling of where you get your inspiration from, but what got you into music in the first place?
I grew up in a musical household. And in fact, at the holiday, I get together with my dad, who I played in a band with when I was a kid, and we have a lot of mutual friends between my age and his age. So every year around Christmas, we get together at my parents' house and have a rather large jam. It's a lot of fun. So my roots go back to blues, jazz, rock and roll, you name it. I probably have played guitar in a band that was playing that somewhere along the line. And a lot of that stuff rubs off on me, too. I find it still shapes my guitar style as a little bit from the old days of guitar, bass, drums, trio kind of stuff.
Other than family, any main influences?
Anything that I can steal and get away with. Really, I hear so many different things. You know, I like to take advantage of whatever influences are creeping into my head at the time, and the more the merrier. I've been listening to a lot of Latin American music, a little from Cuba. The Buena Vista Social Club is the CD of choice this week. Who knows what it'll be next week, you know. I just want to absorb as much as I can, and as a writer, it all comes out someplace.
Well, I'm hoping a lot of it comes out in your new CD that I expect you to send to me along with that $10.
Deal. Deal. It'll be as good as the check.
Play something else for us, Andrew.
How about the title cut from that? Since I'm talking about all this music I've been amalgamating. I've never played African music before, but this has sort of a little collision of my sort of Appalachian-sounding past and an African-sounding future that I have no idea quite where it's leading to, but it's fun. Beyond Borders. My travels traverse so much shaky ground. I am broken but unbowed. Push past the boundary lines that I have drawn. Endless frontiers all around. And I am present in the future and the past. With open hands and open heart. Feel the thunder drum within my chest. Ready now to do my part. I hear sounds of tongues I do not know, and I feel ancient wisdom gathered around me from Asia and Africa and Appalachian hills. Now I know I am not alone. Beyond borders, beyond our sights, beyond ourselves. Beyond borders, beyond our sight, beyond ourselves. Rainforest clearing and savanna plains, the noon of time, the dawn of man. Mystery running through in threads so strong, magic helix living strand. I hear sounds of tongues I do not know, and I feel ancient wisdom gathered around me from Asia and Africa and Appalachian hills. Now I know I am not alone. Beyond borders, beyond our sight, beyond ourselves, beyond borders, beyond our sight, beyond ourselves. And I leave humble gifts for those to come, the echo of our human song. Waymakers wait for me beyond the light, and it's my time where I belong.